Okay, so the first question which we are going to solve is this one. Let me zoom in my screen first. Is my screen visible? Okay, so the question is, write a program to display the following output using a single cout statement. So we have three line of codes, but we need to print this using only one cout. So can you try by your own? Just write the cout code. Yes, please. You can share your screen. Uh, no, not yet. Try to share again. Yeah, it's now going to. Okay, yes. Okay, so you already have math 90, physics 77. Yes. And I already have explained what this return zero means in my previous video. Have you seen that? Okay, it's just the message to the compiler that all thing is happened successfully. Now the compiler will tell that is there any error or not. So it's run successfully, compiled successfully, and then now run it. Okay, that's good. So you already have done so. Let me explain briefly about this then. We don't need to write this the whole program. Okay, so we have written something like this. Let me share my screen then. So we have written something like that, C out, and we have three lines like physics 70. Then we are going to apply a int ln here. Then again the chemistry. So it's a very simple code, nothing more than that. Let's take an example of 80, and whatever the number of time I need to print, I can print. The only thing you need to remember is that in this is the insertion operator. Whenever we want to print some static or some dynamic value, I need to use this one insertion operator, and here we have only static value, and this int ln is the operator to print the next output in the next line. So nothing more than that. Let's move on to our next question. Have you tried that as well? Okay, then let me explain that one first. So we have this second question is this one.
Is this one of your assignments previously?
Sorry.
Did you give this as one of the assignments previously?
No, I haven't give this one, but
Ah, okay.
okay.
I remember it was three values and it will be displaying the largest one.
Yes, yes. Write a program to read two numbers from the keyboard and display the larger value on the screen. So as we can clearly see that we have to enter two numbers, right? So let's take an example of I need to print enter first number. So let's suppose user has entered 8, and in the next line I need to say enter second number, and then suppose he enters 9. So I want to compare these two numbers, right? And whatever the larger number, I need to print something like this: larger number is, and whatever the value which is larger, I need to print this one. So this is the output what we need. Okay, so here we can see it is a static message, static cout message. Here we have cin need to be uses, again static cout, cin, and this one has both the static value from here to here, static, and this one 9 is a dynamic variable, right? So let's move on to our code. So first I need to print this message: please enter a number. So for that, what I'm going to use, cout enter first number, and this output and the output should be taken by the user in the next line. That's why I need to apply here int ln. Okay, but for taking a number I need a variable, right? In that variable I can store whatever the value will enter. So for that I need to first declare two variables, int number1 comma number2. So these are two variables and these are termed as local variables. Have you seen that video of local and global variables?
Yes, ma'am.
So if I declare the variable here, then it will be termed as local variables. For this main, if I
Yes.
declare the variables outside any function, then it will be termed as global variables. So I haven't any global variables for now. So now I need to take the number, first number. So I will take this inside this number1. Again we need to use cout enter second number. Again in the next line, so I need to print this cin number2. Now what I need to test, I need to test which number is greater, right? If how can I do that? I will simply take these numbers. If 8 is greater than 9, then 8 will be greater number, right? 8 is greater. If 9, if 8 is not greater, then obviously 9 will be greater, so 9 is greater. I have taken the static value here, but I need to test number 1 is greater than number 2. If 8 is greater than 9, for this case it will become false. This will return false, right? So this statement is going to run. If suppose user has entered 10 and 10 and 3, so at number 1 will be 10, number 2 will be 3. So this time 10 is greater than 3, right? So this if statement is going to run. Is that simple? So we need to apply if number 1 is greater than number 2. If it is true, then this statement is going to return true. So I need to print cout greater number is, and now I need to have the value, dynamic value, which is number 1. If number 1 is greater, then I need to print number 1. If this number 1 is not greater, then obviously number 2 will be greater, right? Else cout else cout greater number is, obviously the second one will be greater than, if number 1 is not greater, then number 2 will be greater. Or else what will happen if suppose the user has entered same number, let's say 3 3, then what will be the output? Can you guess that?
I don't know.
Okay, so what exactly will happen is that,
So stop. Maybe
no,
zero.
it is not going to stop. Suppose number 1 is 3 and number 2 is also 3, then this statement is going to return what? This statement is going to return false, right? So this cout statement is not going to run, but obviously the else part is going to run, right? So it is going to print greater number is 3, but it is not the right way, right? Because 3 is not
Yes.
greater than 3. So for that, what we need to use? We need to use else if statement. Something like this. Let me explain to you. Suppose the user has entered 3, 4 and 3. Then I need to check if 4 is greater than 3. Then it is okay to print cout greater number is 4. But let's suppose user has entered 3 and 3. Then in this case, if 3 is greater than 3, this is not going to return true. So the else part will be run right. So I need to apply else if here. If 3 is greater than 3, then I need to use this one. At the end, I need to use the default one. For example, number 1 and number 2, right? I need to check if number 1 is greater than number 2. Then what I need to do? Cout number 1 is greater, right?
Yes.
Else if, in the else if, I need to check the reverse. If number 1 is greater than number 2 and number 2 is greater than number 1, if number 2 is greater than number 1, then I need to print cout number 2 is greater, right? But if both the condition will become false, both the condition will become false, I need to have a default value, right? For that default, I am going to use else cout numbers are equal, both numbers are equal. Let's user has entered 5 and 4, so number 1 will be 5, number 2 will be number 5, number 5, 5 is greater than 2, 5 is greater than 4. Yes, this statement get executed, so the output will be 5 is greater. Let's suppose user has entered 3 and 9, so number 1 will have 3 and number 2 will have 9. So number 1 is greater than number 2, 3 is greater than 9. No, this is going to return false. So this time this is not going to run. Now here it will come. Else if number 2 is greater than 1, number 2 is what? 9. So 9 is greater than 3. Yes, this statement is going to return true. So this statement is going to run cout number 2, number 9. Now let's suppose user has entered 6 and 6. So for number 1 will be 6, number 2 will be 6. So 6 is greater than 6. No, it is going to return what? It is going to return false again. So the next condition will be tested. If number 2 is now greater than number 1, meaning 6 is greater than 6, again it is going to return false, right? So this statement is again not going to run. At the last, the default one is going to execute. If none of the condition is executed, the default one is going to execute. Number are equal. So I hope it is clear to you. So we need to apply here, if else if number 2 is greater than number 1, then it is going to show greater number is number 2. If both the condition is not going to return true, then I need to have a default one. So cout both numbers are equal. So this is how it is going to. First of all, we need to have two variables so that we can store the variables in our values. Then it is going to test two conditions. If number 1 is greater than number 2, then it is going to return this one. If number 2 is greater than number 1, then this one is be the output. And if both the condition will become false, then this default is going to run. Cout both numbers are equal.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
In other problems, in similar problems in Google, the solution doesn't have a bracket in every if condition, in every if statement. What difference does it make?
No, I do not understand. Let me please
In your if you have condition and you after the number one and number two you put a curly bracket
Mm-hmm.
and another ending curly bracket,
Yes.
and in each of the condition you have that, but in other solutions that I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
they don't put close end,
Okay,
they
okay,
don't
okay,
put a
okay.
scope.
Okay, why do I use this curly braces? If suppose if I have a condition and if the condition will become true, then I have some statements. For that I have used curly braces, right? So when we apply these curly braces, suppose if we have a condition and there is only one statement, then we can skip this open and closing braces. Okay, but in real scenario, if some condition will happen, maybe we have more than one statement to be executed, right? So that's why in that case it is mandatory to use this curly opening and closing braces. So for only one statement you can skip this one, but it is seen that if you use this curly braces it will be more readable and more understandable for a beginner. That's why I'm using this curly braces here.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I can skip this for now and you can see the output will be the same because we have only one statement, right? So we can simply skip this. Let's now compile this and run this again. Okay, so we have a spelling mistake. Okay, so we have error 0. See, we can use this one or we cannot use, but only for one statement. We have only one statement. Otherwise, if we have two statements in this case, then it is must to use the curly braces. So let's run and see the output. Enter the first number. Let's suppose I have entered 5. Enter second number. Let's suppose 9. Then it is going to show greater number is 9, right? So this is working fine. Okay, let's now create a separate file for our next question. So what is the next question? Write a program to input an integer value from keyboard and display dash times. Okay, so this is the comment, right? If we have multiple line of comment, then we can use this format. Okay, so the question is, write a program to print an integer value, to input an integer value from the keyword and display on the screen well done that many times. So the question is basically, first of all we need to ask a user enter a number, and let's suppose user has entered 5. So what I need to do, I need to print well done 5 times. Well done, well done, well done, well done 5 times. So whatever the value of that integer would be, I need to print this message that times. Okay, so for 5 we need to print this well done message 5 times. Let's suppose user has entered 100, then I need to print this same message 100 times. So this is the basic question. Okay, would you like to try this by your own first? We just need to have a for loop. Or else I'm going to explain this. Okay, so we already have seen our for loop, right? So for loop is basically does, if we have a same task and need to be performed multiple times, then we are going to use this for loop or while loop or do while loop. So we are going to use for loop for this. So for loop has basically this statements. We have first initialization and declaration part, and then some condition part, and then we have some increment or decrement part, and inside this we can use whatever the statements we are going to repeat. So again this is same apply here. If we have only one statement inside this, then we can skip this curly and opening and closing braces. If we have multiple statement need to be performed based on this condition, then we must use this curly braces. Okay, so for this question what we can do is, the user has the user will enter some type of input. It can be 5, it can be 4, it can be 10, right? And we need to print 10 times, 4 times and 5 times the same message, right? So what can I do is, I will first create a variable called int number, and inside the number I will take input from the user, and now I need to write a for loop. So suppose if the variable, some other variable int start, from where we need to start, from 1 to start, I need to start, because let's suppose user has entered 5. So how many times I need to, if 1 is greater, if 1 is less than 5, then we need to perform. If again I am going to increment the value of start, if 2 is less than 5, then I again need to print the same message. If 3 is less than 5, 4 is less than 5, 5 is less than 5, this is going to return false, right? So what I need to apply here, we need to apply if 1 is greater than 6, 2 is greater than 6, 3 is greater than 6, 4 is greater than 6, 5 is greater than 6. So I will start from 1, and whatever the user will enter, I will just make sure that this will be less than or equal to 6. I can apply this one not apply. I can use 1 is less than or equals to 5. 2 is less than or equals to 5, 3 is less than or equals to 5, 4 is less than or equals to 5, and 5 is less than or equals to 5. 5 is not less than 5, but 5 is equals to 5, right? So this is going to return true. But 6 is less than or equals to 5, no, this is going to return false. So how many times we have printed? 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5 times. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to have a variable called int start. We can initialize and declare here as well, or we can directly do here. So we will start from 1, and if this start value is less than whatever the value of entered by the user number, less than or equals to, we have seen here, and I need to increment the value of start by 1. Start is equals to start plus 1, and inside this I will just see out well done. Okay, and if we need to apply int-ln, we can apply here int-ln as well. So do you understand this problem, or have any problem to understand this? Are you guys there?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you understand the problem, or?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's write the program on our dev C++. So we need to have a, first of all we need to have a input value. So cout, enter a number, and to take this number I need to have a variable int number, and now I am going to declare another variable with the start with 1. So I can do the same inside our for loop. Int start is equals to 1. I should be, sorry, start should be less than or equals to the number, and I need to write start is equals to start plus 1. I can write the same like something this, start plus plus. So it does what? It does the same thing. Start is equals to start plus 1. So these are shorthands. We are going to learn more about this later. So inside this I need to write well done. And again we can skip this curly braces for now because we have only one statement. So okay, it is asking for me a number. Let's suppose I have entered 10. So it is going to print well done 10 times, right? You can see we have entered a number, we have entered 10. So it is going to print well done 10 times. So I think it is clear to you guys, right? Okay, now let's move to our next question. Write a program to read the values of a, b and c and display the value of x where a, b, c. Okay, so this one. So we have this question: write a program to read the values of a, b and c. So basically a, b and c are variables, and display the value of x where x is equals to a divided by b minus c. So this is basically a calculation, and we need to provide the output and the, you can say, result. So for this what we need to do is we need to create three variables or four variables, sorry, a, b, c and x. And I need to do a calculation something like this: x is equals to a divided by b minus c using our program. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create four variables of integer type for now, and I just need to apply the here. Or you can say a divided b does what? Suppose a has 5 and b value is 10. A value is 5, b value is 10. So it is going to what? 10 divided by 5. 5 to 10. Right? So it is going to return 2 as a result. Right? A divided by 2 is going to result 2. But what the value if 5, let's suppose 13. So what is going to return for a divided by b only? So 5 to 10 and we have 3 and we have called 30, right? This is going to happen in our general. So we can clearly see that this has value 2.6. But we already have seen that integer value cannot take floating values, right? So this is a float type value and we have declared integer type variables. So what is going to happen? What it will does is that it is going to skip the decimal parts. It is going to skip the decimal parts and it is just going to store this 2 value. It is just going to return 2. So we can clearly understand that we cannot go for integer type values because we have some floating values as well. So that's why I need to create these variables not as integer but as float, right? So this is very simple. We just need to have a float type variables. So we need to create float a comma b comma c comma x. For beginners, how do we declare variables? Just like float a semicolon, float b semicolon, something like this. So we can skip this if we have the multiple variables of the same type. What we can do, we can just declare the data type only one, and we can declare our variables using these commas. So this is float a, this is also of a name, this is the b name of same float type, this is c variable of the same float type. So now we need to take the values of a, b and c from the user, right? So how can we do that? First of all, I need to print the message: enter the value of a, right? So C in a value, then C out, enter the value of b, then again int ln, C in b, C out, C will be here. Now we need to perform a calculation, right? And what is the calculation? We need to perform x is equals to a divided by b minus c. So I will just simply write here x is equals to a divided by b minus c, right? So whatever the value of this division, first division will happen because division has higher precedence, right? In mathematics we have learn all about these things, that whatever the value which have higher precision, that calculation will be performed first, and then whatever the value of this a divided by b will be, the C value will be get subtracted from that, and after calculating the whole result, the value is going to store inside this X variable. So now I want to simply print the value of X. So value of, or you can say result is, we have simply the X value. Now simply return 0, and we are our program has completed. X value, what is our third question? And now our second question is something like this. Here we have a simple calculation, x is equals to a divided by b minus c, right? And write a C++ program that will ask for a length and breadth from user and calculate area of rectangle. So this is also a calculation, but we need to know that what is the rectangle, right? We already have learned in our schooling what is rectangle and how do we find the area of a rectangle. So the rectangle formula, area formula is simple, length into breadth, right? This is the simple formula. So what we need to do here, again we need to have three variables, one for length, second one for breadth, and we need to have a third variable, something like a rectangle area, so that we can store the result of this one inside this variable. And after calculating the area, we just need to print the area of the rectangle. So this one is easy one, you need to try by your own. And we have now second one, write a C++ program. So these are all almost same, you need to try these all. So the next question is this one. Write a C++ program that will ask for side from user and calculate area of a square. So we already know what is a square. A square is a rectangle which has four equal equal length of sides, right? And what is the area of the square? Area of a square is nothing but side into side, right? So what I need to do here, I need to have only two variables, one to store the result of the square and the second one is to take the input from the value of side, right? So suppose user has entered, he has a square of 5 centimeter, so he will just simply enter 5 and we need to print the output as 25. So 5 is the length of one side for equal sides and the output is 25. So we just need two variables here. Okay, so this one is also a easy one. Almost all are same now. Okay, so now this one. Okay, so write a C++ program that will ask for a weight in kg and display it in gram and vice versa. Meaning that vice versa means if if the user will enter the weight in kg, then I need to show in gram. if the user will enter in gram, then I need to show this in kg. So how can we do that? It's very simple again. What we need to have, we need to have two variables of float type, obviously, because it is going to have some decimals value as well. So one variable called kg and the second one is gram. So we all know that 1 kg is equals to 1000 grams, right? Let's suppose user has entered value of kg is 5. Then what I need to see, what need I to show that 5 into 1000, that is 5. Let's suppose user has entered 2000 gram as an input. Then what need I need to show 2 kg. What I'm going to do here, if the user will enter in gram, then I need to divide it by 1000, and if the user has entered in kg, then I need to multiply it by 1000, right? So we will ask the user one by one. Let's write the program for this. So we need to have two variables, float kg and gram. Okay, so in the first case I will ask the user for kg, and in the second I will ask for gram. And we already have learned about functions, right? So I am going to create this program using functions. So what is function? There are basically three steps. First one is the function prototype. I just tell the compiler how my function is going to look like. So this is prototype. So what I'm going to do here, one function will be for kg to gram conversion, and the next function will be gram to kg conversion. So I am going to create two functions here. So float, again it is going to return float, the result will be in the float, right? So kg to gram. Okay, and it is going to have a value of float, and whatever the value is going to be, we are going to convert kg to gram, right? So we need to have a value of kg. So I am going to take input of kg here. So this is just the function prototype, how my function will be look like. Now here, after the main function, I am going to declare it just like we do in our variable. We just declare it, that initialize it. In the same way, we are going to have a function prototype just to show the compiler how my function will be. And after that I need to initialize, or you can say declare my variable, declare my function. So we have function kg to gram. Now the user will enter the value in kg, right? So this is my function declaration, and here we need to call function call. So let's suppose first I will ask the user to enter some value in kg, right? So I will enter, so a message, enter value of kg, and now I'm going to kg. So the kg here, kg is different than this one because these are local variables, local variable for main method. Okay, and this kg is local variable of kg to gram function. So we will have separate memory, locations for kg of main method, inside main method, and have a separate memory location for kg to this kg to gram function. So these are two different variables, not the same one. The name is same because we have different functions, so that we can use the same name, but these are two different variables. Now I have asked the user to enter the value of kg. After taking kg value, I need to call this function, and what does this function will do? It is going to so, or you can say, let's suppose just void. Why I'm going to do void here? Because I just want to print a message. If the user will enter in kg, then I'll convert this into gram, and then I will show you. So float result is equals to kg into 1000. Now see out in gram, what we have in gram, we have this result. So let's suppose user has entered kg value 5. So this 5, I am going to call this function. And how can we do that? Just write simple the value, the function name. Inside this you need to pass the value of kg. So we have this kg here, so we just need to pass it here. Now this function is going to come here, and inside this function, whatever the value or whatever the task you have given to this function, it is going to execute all of them, and then again come back to this one. So see out task completed. So what is going to do? The function will start from running main method. Let's debug this. Actually we can debug this. So we have created float, kg and gram. So here I am going to do this program using function. Instead of writing the same code again and again, what can we do? We can create a function, and we can call this function just by using the name. Let's suppose you have a let's suppose I need to clean my desk or clean my room, right? So we can clean our room by on, right? But we have a separate maid for it, right? Separate maid. So this separate maid comes to our home daily, and she or he cleans the house, right? She cleans our house daily. So this will be termed as function. This is a function, and we just call this function again and again to perform our task. So if whenever I want to clean my room, I'll just ask my maid, so please come to my home and clean my room. So the maid will be understand as a function, and I'm just going to call that function to perform my task. So the same thing is going to happen here. We have a kg to gram conversion function, and whenever I want whatever the value will be entered by user in kg, I need to show the output in gram. So I will call this function. So float kg, this function is going to call, and whatever the value is inside, it is going to run, and it is going to show the result. And after completing the task, it is again going to come back to this function. And since this function is completed now, so the next statement is going to run task completed. Let's actually run this kg to gram. Okay, so it is asking me for the value of kg. Let's suppose I am going to enter 5 kg. So what will be the output? In gram, it is 5000 gram. So now after completing this task, the next message has been shown, right? Task completed. So what it does actually is that it is going to print, ask the user first, enter value of kg. After taking the input of kg, it is going to call this function. So this function does exactly, it is going to have a parameter which is accepting a value. So after accepting the value, it is going to calculate the some functions. After that, it is going to return the output, it is going to show an output, and after these two tasks has been completed, the function will come again to this, and now this function has run successfully, called successfully, and the next statement whatever it was is going to be performed. So I hope is this one is easy for you.
It is not. It is not yet clear. I'm trying to follow up, but I
Yes,
can't get it clear, madam.
okay, okay, so let me
I've not understood it well.
have you seen the video of function first?
The function.
Okay, so I have just explained function is basically if we have a suppose a task, and I cannot want to do the task by my own. So instead of doing by my own, what can I do? I can take help of others, right? Just like I have taken the example
Yeah.
of maid, just like I have taken the example of maid. Suppose this is my home, and I need to clean this home. So instead of doing by my own, what I can do, I can take help of others. So I have hired a maid, and she is going to clean my house. So whenever I want to clean my house, I will just call my maid, so please maid come to my home and just clean my house, right? In the same way, in our program, let's suppose in this is our main method, this is our main method, right? This is our main method, and inside this main method I don't want that the kg to gram conversion should happen. So what I have decided, I have decided to create a function. This can be compared as my maid. So whenever I want to clean my house, what I am going to do, I am going to ask my maid to please clean my house, right? So in the same way, the main function doesn't want to perform this calculation or whatever it can be. So what the function is going to do, it is going to call that function. So this is basically a function call. Just how I ask my maid to clean my house, in the same way the main function is going to call this function. So whenever the function will be called, the maid will be here, meaning the maid will perform her task, right? So in the same way, the function is going to perform some task. After completing the task, the maid is going to outside, and again our main method will be here. uh,
Okay.
uh, you can take one easy example as well. Just we have seen in print hello world using function. Let's suppose in my main method I want to print cout. Here we have our main method, right? Cout hello world,
Yes.
hello world. But now main method doesn't want to do this task there by own. So the main method will does what? It is going to create a separate function. So I can say void. Why void? Void means it doesn't going to return anything, it is going to print anything, right? So that's why it has void. Void print. So suppose this is my function, and inside this I can say cout hello world, right? And now I can skip this one, and I just simply call this function print. Okay, so whenever I want to print hello world again and again inside this main, what can I do? Instead of writing the same code, I can call this print method. So I can call this method 100 times. Calling function, this is calling function, this is termed as declaration of function, and we need to have a prototype before the main method. This is my main function, this is my main function, and this is my function declaration. I have declared the function, meaning I have explained what this function is going to do, right? So we can have multiple statements here, but before that we need to have a prototype. Prototype means the compiler need to be understand what is the function name, what is it is going to return. So this type of things is done here, you can see in the program. So this is how function prototype. So this is function prototype. If you haven't watched the video of function, then you must watch that one first. Okay, I think that's enough for today, and you guys need to solve all the questions, rest of the questions, so that it will be more understandable to you. And if you face any problem, let me know in the group.
Okay, mom.
Okay, so thank you for today.
Thank you, mom. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello. अगर okay, okay, thank you.